Tremor.
Three Tremors.
Tremor, directed by Ron Underwood. Starring Kevin Bacon.
My name's James.
Fred Ward. Reba McEntire. And Michael Gross.
Tremor.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Tremor Talk. I am your host Luke Newman. With us again, Peter Dride.
Yellow.
And my lovely, beautiful wife, Marika.
Hi.
For DSLR this week, I wanted to talk about the new Magic Lantern. Magic Lantern released a update. I think it was actually November 11th. I'll have to look into this. I'm not sure. But it opened up a few more options with shutter speed. It now goes up to, and this is just for the T2i as of right now. So now shutter speed goes up to 1/8,000th of a second, and it goes down to 1/25th of a second. So that before it was 1/30th, so that gives us 1/5 of a second more less shutter speed, I should say. And then 1/8,000th, that's the big one, because the T2i before went up to 1/4000th. So that's doubling what we can do with shutter speed. And you know, that really doesn't affect much, because when are you going to shoot at 1/8000th? Unless you're doing Twixtor.
Yeah.
So Marika and I went out and did some test shots of us just being awesome, dunking basketballs on 6-foot rims.
So cool.
You know, it was, Pete wished he was there.
Yes.
He
Dunking
told me,
basketballs.
he
Yeah.
texted me and he was like, I wanted to be there. Because
Sorry.
Pete can dunk.
Yeah, dude.
Anyways, you hear with the T2i and DSLR, sometimes the downside is frame rates. You know, the Red Epic has 300 frames a second or whatever. But more and more, the 60 frames a second with the 1/8000th shutter speed can produce some pretty good Twixtor results. There's still some warping going on. If you look in our test video up by the net in certain shots, you can see some warping going on. But if you film it right, you can get,
Yeah, if you have the right object.
right, if you have the right object, and really what I found with Twixtor is you wait to slow it down until the movement is at its slowest. So, like, if you try to slow it down, like when somebody's hand is going to dunk it, their hand's moving really fast, and there's almost always going to be motion blur, even at 1/8000th, just because your hand is moving that fast. But if you slow it down right at the peak of the jump, when there's almost no movement at all, then Twixtor has a really easy time figuring out what frames come next and before that shot. So with the 1/8000th, technically it should just be 2 times better, and I pretty much found that to be the case, that 2 times better is a direct result of 1/8000th shutter speed. 1/25th, though, that's something that most cameras, most professional video cameras, you can go down to like 1/5 of a second, and you get the whole like Gladiator, like the shutter speed, the fast shutter speed, and then quickly shift to the slow shutter speed where it's like blurry and the guys on the battlefield like looking at all the dead people and the
Snow
sound,
falling.
the sound kind of slows down.
Yeah.
It happened in Private Ryan too.
Yeah.
So 1/25th doesn't do that, but it does give you a little more light, and it adds it almost adds like a BBC type of look, I noticed, with the motion blur. It's sort of like, it looks like there's more frames or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, just having that option, that's just what's so cool about Magic Lantern and what it's done. Opening up 1/48th shutter speed, which is like, the proper shutter speed to use when you're shooting at 24 frames a second. And now the 1/8000th and the 1/25th is just a cool free plug-in. And it,
Right.
it's very exciting. All right, so that's all I have for DSLR stuff now. I kind of want to talk about something film-related later on in the podcast, but DSLR only, that's all I got. So, Marika, the Entertainment Weekly Roundup is back.
Hello.
Hello.
Yellow.
Speaking of Gladiator, you had mentioned that movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Shutter speed.
yes.
Bad.
There are rumors going around about a Gladiator sequel.
Did you happen to get who wrote the script?
Who wrote the first one?
I don't know who wrote the first one.
The name is on the tip of my
I
tongue.
heard it was Nick Cave.
Yes, I think so.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
that's what I read too.
Isn't that weird?
That
And
wrote Gladiator?
The sequel.
Oh, okay.
I
See,
think
and Nick
yeah.
Cave is the composer from The Proposition and Jesse James. He's this really good composer.
Well, he's an artist.
Well, he's a writer too, I guess.
Yeah.
He
He wrote
Gladiator too.
He wrote like The Proposition.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, see, whenever I heard he wrote this, I just thought the music.
Right.
Huh.
Because he's wrote a few different screenplays.
Just seems like a bizarre guy all around.
He is.
In the Pete Dryden mold.
So, and then also Ridley Scott is apparently behind it again.
Well,
Brothers
of course.
Tony Scott.
I mean,
Yes, yes.
but if it's going to be a prequel, how do you
There isn't a prequel to it because it already tells the story of...
Well, it was going to be before, like his life
Yeah.
before.
Russell Crowe's
Yeah.
when he was the
Okay.
military guy?
Mhm.
Okay.
I
But
guess.
what do you
but-
tell there,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's some story. It's like,
But it doesn't seem like it's
got to
enough.
recast the dad. Yeah. Who was that? Was that actor? Harris?
No. Well, wasn't it
The old guy?
Oliver Reed or
Yeah.
something like
He
that?
died.
He's dead.
He played Dumbledore in the first two Harry Potters.
He did?
Yep.
Oh, then I'm thinking of someone else.
You got to bring back
Oh.
Joaquin Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
which was a good role for Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
That was, when you saw
Yeah.
that one, it was like, this guy's an up-and-comer. He's got the weird little
Whatever
scar
that
on
thing
his
is.
face.
Yeah.
Well, Gladiator 2, I mean, here's the thing.
Thing is...
I don't know if Ridley Scott's lost it or not. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would you say that?
Because Robin Hood.
He's old.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing with Clint Eastwood. Like, it's just like...
No.
You hit an age, and it's like, well, can you...
Compared to Clint Eastwood, Ridley Scott is young.
I know, but I'm just I'm looking at it like sports,
Mm-hmm.
and how when you just hit a certain age in sports, like let's say football, when you
Like Brett Favre or something.
yeah, well
Mhm.
he's like the Clint Eastwood, like he went way too long, but like a running back,
Yeah.
when they hit 30, it's like you might have one more good season, but it's like you're past your prime.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Ridley, I mean, he had a prime. And you look at the careers of directors in history that have had like really successful decades or, extended periods of time, it ends.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, there's some like
There's some like Spielberg and like
and Sidney Lumet that he's old. Like he started way
Right.
back in the day, and he still comes out with good.
but
movies.
is Ridley Scott one of those guys? That's the thing.
But look at Ridley Scott's track record.
I know, but I'm saying it's fallen off. And so it just makes me wonder, is that the end of his run? Are we seeing the end of his run here? Like,
Maybe for Tony. I don't think Ridley though. I think
Tony never had a run. He was just consistently like,
he tries.
B movie.
He really tries, but he's
It's just Ridley, when you look at it, it's like he had a 15, 20-year run, and he's had consecutive, maybe 2, maybe 3, just kind of like, not as good as your stuff before, plus he's getting up in age, and it's just like, this could be done.
mm-hmm.
But he's still getting movies, so it's like, well, maybe producers and studios are seeing something that's there. That's like, he can still direct.
Or maybe he's having more say in what he wants to direct.
Yeah, but I just thought Robin Hood, I mean, it was good, but it was like, you've got to do something else. Like, Robin Hood was too Ridley Scott.
Mm.
I don't know. And it's just like, well, you're going back to Gladiator, so it's almost like, and that, to me, when you look at sitcoms,
Yeah.
you can almost tell when a sitcom's running out of steam when they start doing the clip episodes.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like like Seinfeld or something, they like there's a little bit of a story and George comes in and then they're like, remember back at that time, and then it flashes back and you just see all the, it's like shows are starting to run out of steam when you have a whole episode be like the
flashback.
best of flashbacks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ridley's starting to go back to Aliens and to Gladiator 2,
Mhm.
it's just, it has that feel of like, it could be a 2-star movie. That's what Robin Hood was. So it's like,
Yeah.
if they do it, cool. It'll make money.
Yeah. I just can't. I don't think of Gladiator as anything more than just one movie.
No, and I think that's a mistake.
It's like doing a second Braveheart or something.
Exactly. Like doing a prequel to Braveheart. It's like, I don't care. I care about the end of that story. I don't care about the beginning.
Yeah.
You didn't show it in the first one because it wasn't important enough.
Yeah.
And anything you're showing now is just because, well, I want to make more money off this series, and I want to force more of this character to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do like prequels sometimes when they're forced, if they're fun.
Yeah.
Like I've heard for people who are fans of the old Star Trek that the new Star Trek has all these references, and it's fun.
No, and
to
that's true.
Oh, that's cool that like Spock did this because he does that in the old movies, and we just saw why he does it.
Gone.
Anyways, sorry, Marika. Continue.
Okay. Speaking of Star Trek, there is a sequel set to come out in 2013. And there's rumors that...
Look at that segue. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, anywho, so there's rumors that Benicio del Toro is going to be playing the villain in the Star Trek 2 sequel.
Do you not like Benicio?
I have nothing against him. I have something against villains in JJ Abrams' roles.
What are they?
Well, Eric Bana in Star Trek. It's like, they don't get any... It's like it's cool, but it's not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be in it enough to like to just be on screen, but it won't be like that was a good role. It'll be like no.
Hopefully though, because Del Toro definitely has more of a screen presence than Bana.
Yeah, but I'm looking at how Abrams handles villains, and I'm just saying that yeah, I doubt it'll be anything. It'll end up being one of those ones that's like, well, he didn't do anything to hurt it, and he didn't do anything to make it better because he didn't get much.
Right.
The writing wasn't meant for him. It was meant... And this is opening a can of worms because we all just watched Super 8 for the first time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And...
That was actually another one of my topic discussions.
Okay, go ahead.
Review on Super 8 and thoughts on JJ Abrams.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay. Here's the thing.
This is the thing.
People are going to stone us for this because for some reason JJ Abrams is hailed as the next Spielberg. But Peter, I want you to say it.
Well, he's just not that good. He's the thing of it is he's a blockbuster Hollywood director that's always formulaic.
Right.
It's always like, yeah, I mean, I know what to expect out of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the key elements of like, there's cool shots and there's a lot of money put into the production, so it's gonna be cool. Like Super 8 was cool. As far as all the hype that went into it of being what they said about it, in my opinion, was like, I mean, I fell asleep, so that says something.
You did.
The thing about it is that he's not switching up the genres enough. I feel like a younger Spielberg wouldn't do like 3 Alien movies in a row. Because a younger Spielberg was like all artistic creativity, like you couldn't stop him.
Right.
Abrams, it's like he's going from what works to what works to what works. And that's like...
What all did he do? Did he do...
Mission Impossible 3.
Right.
He produced Cloverfield.
Yeah, okay.
Star Trek. And Super 8.
He didn't do anything before Mission Impossible 3?
Just TV.
Have you seen previews for Mission Impossible 4?
Oh, my God.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of my take, too. It was like this looks way too, like...
A Jason Statham movie?
Yeah, where it's like, it looks like you threw it together and it's kind of rushed, and you got some lines in there and you got famous actors, but it just doesn't look that good.
Well, but that's the Mission Impossible 3, though. I mean, you know what it is. That's the thing. You know what it is. It's a summer blockbuster to make money. It's a sequel to a sequel to a sequel. It's a franchise. You know what you're going to get.
Right.
Mhm.
You're going to get a 2.5-star movie, maybe 3, and you're going to get stunts and action and loud and whiz and bang and quick shots and maybe a few cool shots and production value, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is JJ Abrams' career in a nutshell so far.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You're awesome. You know, you're really good at what you do.
Oh, and this is the thing, though, is that we've talked about this before, where it's just, he's another Michael Bay.
yeah.
Yes.
Where
That's who he resembles. It's not. He's not the next Spielberg. He's the next Michael Bay.
Right,
Yeah.
and Michael Bay now, everybody has seen because of his track record that it's like,
It's all he can. It's all he can do.
he's
Yeah.
not that much. I mean,
Mhm.
he comes through because he fills he fills the need for the next blockbuster movie.
He makes money. He's
Right.
more a producer, and that's the thing. The next Abrams movie is now Star Trek 2.
Mhm.
So he's gone from Mission Impossible 3 to Cloverfield to Star Trek to Super 8 to Star Trek 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 movies that are just like all summer blockbusters, all 2.5 to 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Not a ton of emotional depth, just blockbusters, and that's what Michael Bay does. Like Spielberg won awards. Spielberg
Right.
directed Private Ryan. He directed
Schindler's List,
Schindler's
Jaws,
List, Schindler's
1975,
Yeah.
starring Richard Dreyfuss.
It's just like Abrams is showing himself to be more Bay than Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's next?
The Dark Knight Rises has officially wrapped, and Christian Bale declared that he is completely done with Batman.
Well,
It's kind of a sad thought, but he was pretty phenomenal as Batman,
Well,
I have to say.
He was the longest tenured Batman. Michael Keaton did 2. That was the second, but no one's ever done 3.
Mm-hmm.
3 movies. So it feels like he's the most complete
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne and Batman. As far as the best, I mean, I got to go with Val Kilmer, but
Myself.
no, I really. This is the thing about the Batman series is I love Batman Begins because Christian Bale's an amazing actor,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and when you watch Batman, you don't necessarily. When you watch The Dark Knight, I should say, you don't get that sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching just The Dark Knight and you've never seen another Christian Bale movie,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be like, he's
Yeah.
like Kevin Costner. He's just an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But really, Batman Begins, he got to act a lot more.
Right.
And you got to see more Bruce Wayne, whereas in The Dark Knight, it's kind of all about the Joker and a lot more about Batman than it is about Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of hoping in the third one here, they get back a little bit. Because Batman Begins, I like it more than The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite, it's my favorite superhero movie ever.
Right.
And it's up there with one of my favorite movies. Like everything about it, the music, the acting, the directing, everything I love. And if they go back to that in some way in The Dark Knight, but still make it epic,
I don't know.
how can it miss?
I don't know.
Because Nolan has not missed yet.
Well, he's a great director.
He's the next Spielberg in my mind. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
because he's his own thing.
Right.
But, I mean, he is just 20 times the director that Abrams is.
Right.
Hands down.
I think this is the thing though, is that there will never be another Spielberg to me.
Right.
Because each director has their own vision and they're iconic in their own way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Paul Verhoeven,
Oh, my God.
RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct.
No.
He's not iconic.
You know, I mean, he's just an all-around great director. But the point is that, you know, you could go all the way back and talk about like Hitchcock or something.
Right.
And it's like, well, no one can recreate or
Yeah. Spielberg wasn't the next Hitchcock.
right.
He
it
was the
just-
first of his kind, just as Nolan will probably be.
And Nolan is
Mhm.
really in his own way like ahead of his time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to Abrams. He's trying to be like the next Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Or he doesn't seem to have his own unique vision.
No.
It's just
Right.
epic. And it's like
Mhm.
everybody does that.
Yeah.
Right.
Every summer movie has that.
Well, it's just the same as Cowboys versus Aliens or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like a John Favreau.
Well, it's a formula. That I always
Mhm.
think of it as a formula, and it's like if a director finds a formula that works for him, it's safe to just say, why don't you stick with that?
And I sometimes just think about it like there's a left side of the brain and a right side of the brain filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's more producer-oriented and follows the script and went to film school and does everything that they learned in film school. And I don't think that's the best type of filmmaker to be making movies in Hollywood. Just because you get where we're at now with the same stuff being produced over and over. Because you're getting guys that come out of film school. They've been taught to do things a certain way. They do things that way. And the guys who are teaching at film school that left the industry are now just breeding these filmmakers that just follow the script and just follow the rules and have trouble thinking outside the box because they're so honed in on this is the right way to do things because this is how I learned it in film school.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to follow this rule and this rule and this rule. And if I don't, it won't be a professional. It won't be a professional movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're getting less like directors and filmmakers and more just like guys that can be plugged in and out at will, and it doesn't matter what their name is. They're just a guy that graduated film school that can run a production.
Well, this is the other thing too. Is like when I think of iconic directors. You know, it's anyone from Spielberg to Kubrick to, Darren Aronofsky to like Malick, where it's like they're great directors because they have a vision that they know how to put onto screen and tell stories in a certain way that's like, who else can do that?
Right.
Malick just does it in a certain way that you could go to film school all you want. And I don't know if he's gone to film school or not, but the point is that he has a vision. He doesn't just play it by the books.
It's because it seems like he's fueled by creativity and not by...
Right, more than a formula.
Not by following the rules of what works.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like if you're setting boundaries to yourself, like as you're writing the script or as you're figuring out what shots you're going to do and whatnot, like you're putting the movie in a box and it's going to say, you've seen this before. Like that's all it is. It's like, as a filmmaker, it seems like you'd want to like present something that's never been done before in a way that's never been done, And that's kind of, to me, like that's what art is, and filmmaking is an art. It should be new and unique to the filmmakers behind it. And that's not what Hollywood is at this point. It's all about formulas, sequels, making money off the movies in any way they can. I mean, they're bringing back like Street Fighter. I mean, Mortal Kombat. It's like, come on.
Mortal Kombat. Sub-Zero.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Liu Kang.
Oh my
Sonya.
Mortal Kombat.
Ah.
Marika.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Let's just move along. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm quite excited about, is...
Twilight.
No.
All right.
The previously canceled Fox series Arrested Development is officially set to air new episodes in 2013.
What?
13?
And the entire cast is expected to return, which is pretty cool.
But why so long?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I know they're still doing the movie, and I'm not sure if that's coming before or after the episodes, but it seems weird to me. And it also said that Netflix
Is exclusive?
It's exclusive, so I'm not sure why or...
Weird.
And they didn't say how many episodes. Because
that means it won't be airing live. It's just going to be like Netflix. Maybe streaming, but even then, how does that work?
It's kind of weird.
You know what is weird is I think that's where most people found Arrested Development.
Yeah.
That's where we found it, and I from what I know, it didn't do so well while it was live.
I don't get why. It's so funny. It is.
Yeah, but it was one of those shows like, because I remember when it was on, I liked it. But it was the same with Family Guy.
It's slow.
I liked it when it was on, and then it went off the air, and it was like, that's too bad. That was a good show.
Yeah.
And then by demand, which was the same way, like Family Guy didn't really get known from Netflix. It just got known from reruns and DVDs and
Yeah.
people just talking about
Family has a weird little story.
it. Yeah.
Just how that happened.
Right.
It was gone.
Really?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
when did it start? Like
I don't remember the year, but it
99 or something?
Yeah, it only did like 3 seasons, I think, and then it was gone.
And then it was
What?
gone. And then everybody was watching it on DVD
Oh, wow.
and reruns.
Right.
And then for some reason, it was like, this is funny. We're going to bring you back. And now it's
Yeah.
like one of the biggest
Yeah.
shows on TV.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Was Seth MacFarlane, was he always behind
Yeah.
from the beginning?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
Pretty weird.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is it's like it's the same formula
Mm-hmm.
from the first episode of the first season to what
Mhm.
they do now.
It
It's
just
yeah,
took
it's a little
America. It
changed,
just
but-
took America that long to catch on.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, same characters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Arrested Development is, I think, like if Netflix would have been around when
Mhm.
Family Guy happened, that's probably how people would have stumbled across Family Guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I kind of think that's why they decided to do it, is because that's where everybody found us.
Yeah.
Although if they just came out with a promo on Fox for the Super Bowl, I mean, they'd get all the viewers they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're doing Netflix. It almost seems like you're losing viewership, but
Yeah.
whatever.
You know what? When I think about it, like we watched it, there's 3 seasons, and we watched like each episode basically back to back. And so it was
Mhm.
like, that was why we were able to like continue like
Your
keeping
Netflix.
interest in it and everything. Cause it was like, we got to watch like episode after episode. Whereas if you watched individual episodes every week, it's like, I could see how you could probably,
Yeah, how that
lose a little
show
interest.
might not,
mm-hmm.
because it does take
Yeah.
that show in particular. That's a good point. Is it does take 3 episodes in a row before you're like, this is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I wonder
I
if
just don't have any patience.
I know.
I
That's
know.
what it is.
Well,
Yep.
that is. And even for
Uh.
a really well written show like that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta just do this though. If nobody has seen Workaholics, you have to see Workaholics.
What is it?
It's this new show on I think it's on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
So funny. Like just characters in bizarre situations.
Mm-hmm.
But the characters and the situations are just priceless.
Hmm.
It's a
It's
funny
new?
show. Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that all you have?
That is all I have this week.
Thank you, Marika.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Peter, you went to Las Vegas. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not a big fan of Las Vegas.
Why?
I just don't. It's just not my style.
Mhm.
You know, it's the city itself. There's nothing original about it.
Right.
It doesn't have a character. It's all.
It's JJ Abrams.
Yeah, it's just it's entertainment, and you can get lost in it and just enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like it's not original, and it doesn't have. It has its own personality, but it's this type of personality. If it was in a person, I wouldn't have anything in common with them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, it's like I don't mind visiting,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of lose interest. And it's like, if this is all you guys have to show me is just in-your-face entertainment, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to be entertained, but I'm also growing kind of bored with it because it's like...
Get those lights out of my face.
It's a formula that just... I'm big on formulas.
It's formulaic.
Yeah, and it just doesn't do it for me. And then this is the other thing. Thing is, I don't like being that far away from the coast. If I wanted to go to the coast and just get to a point on land that I can't see anything beyond water,
Mhm.
I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I
Instead
like-
of knowing that there's a state on every side of you.
You're
Right.
trapped.
And I'm in a desert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the
Right.
middle of nowhere, and like if you fly in and out of Vegas, you see that it's like there is nothing
Mm-hmm.
around us.
Yeah.
And then there's just this huge city that has this one strip of all these buildings that, you know, like, well, I want to go to that strip. I want to
Mhm.
go to that street and see what's going on there.
Mhm.
But everything else around it, it's a city in itself. So there's like 2 cities of like, there's the strip and then there's Vegas. And Vegas is just kind of like another town like
Mhm.
you'd find anywhere where it's people just doing their thing. They live in Vegas and it's like, yeah, I don't even go to the strip.
Right.
You know, I just
That's
work.
kind of like New York.
Right. New York and Times Square.
Times Square.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that way, then I'm looking at it and thinking, well, if I don't really care for the strip, would I care for Vegas in itself? And that's when I'm like, no, because it's not near the coast, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And desert, and then if I'm going to go on vacation, I want to go somewhere like I want to relax. My idea of vacation is not drinking and gambling. Like that's not my form of entertainment. Like
No.
my form of entertainment is relaxing when I'm on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And some people it's just different personalities. Like some people,
Yeah.
even if they don't drink or gamble, they just
Yeah.
like to go to Vegas just to like, I don't know.
Yeah, because
Oh.
that's the thing. Is like I don't drink or gamble, but just going there, it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of shows and stuff where, yeah, they push drinking on you, but they also know that not everybody drinks, so they can entertain you with just what they have there, which they have a lot going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the environment, it's the tone of the environment that it's just not really my style.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's it's like upbeat.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a fast city. It's just, I don't know. I could go on and on about it, but it's the personality. I just don't like Vegas personality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you went to Times Square, you'd be like, yeah, this is like Vegas. It's just smaller.
Feels kind of like it.
Because Times Square is just a couple blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's just lights going up the buildings everywhere, and it's
Times
just like
Square has personality to me.
when you're there though, it's like there's tourists. All there is
Yeah.
tourists, so there's no personality. It's a mixture of personalities, and it's just advertising.
Just like
So it's
in
just
your
like,
face everywhere.
This is like if the internet and commercials had a baby, and just
Right.
gave birth onto like a little section of a town,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, okay, this is a lot to take in.
Right.
And when you're there, you smell trash and you smell poop, and then
I guess that's the thing. That's what it comes down to. That's like when I went to Vegas.
Mhm.
I've gone to Vegas a few times, and so I've done the tourist stuff of Vegas, which is fun when if you've never gone there,
Right.
and you go, you do kind of want to do the tourist stuff
Right.
because it's like I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like this time, I wanted to go and take pictures of all the places that are like, this describes Vegas from not a tourist perspective, but somebody that's visiting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even in doing that, it's like
Not much personality.
not much going on, and I just kind of didn't. I think that New York would be different in that way. Where
No, it is.
So you know what I mean,
Right.
And that's kind of the thing is, Vegas just, if you like the personality of Vegas, you'd love it.
Well, that's the thing too, though, is that you probably have an idea of what New York's personality is like,
Sure.
just from what you know of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is, Las Vegas, when you like when you look at New York and then you look at Times Square, you're like, well, I know that that's not what most New York is like. Like I imagine New York being like nice like restaurants and just like different people going to work and just sort of like a melting pot of all this different stuff. And
Yeah, lots of diversity and culture.
but
and-
you have like an idea of a personality with New York City.
right.
Whereas Vegas, it's like, okay, you have the strip and you can kind of like assume that there's something outside of the strip,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like it's hard to define a personality of it. Like there's no like
Right.
food that defines it.
No.
There's no like set of people.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, there's not like iconic like structures or iconic
Well, and this is the other thing too that was funny was like, since I've gone and I've seen the tourist stuff and I've witnessed it from firsthand. Like when you first get there, it's hard not to just be like, "Wow,
yeah.
this place is crazy."
Yeah.
But then, like going this time, I was just walking around trying to get cool pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost like bizarre to see somebody taking a picture next to a fake Eiffel Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a cool building, but it's not real.
It's not
Yeah.
And
real.
it just doesn't have the same feel where if you showed it to somebody, you'd be like, check this out. And they'd be like, whoa,
Yeah.
when'd you go to Europe?
Yeah.
I didn't. It's in Vegas.
And on that
oh my
note-
gosh.
Thank you for listening to Tremor Talk. Hope you come back next week.